And please continue to okay. All right, cool. Thank you so much again for joining us. Today we are talking about flu and how to prevent flu, how to make yourself secure in this season. There's a lot of COVID going on as well. Okay, cool. Thank you. About flu and how you can prevent it or prevent yourself from being sick for a long time. Just before I start, I just wanted to just quickly tell you about the services that Gloria does. We do the biospices. Also, we have food seminars, we do meal plans, we do ready meals, cooking classes, nutrition coaching, as well as food and wellness scan. We also have a Saturday clinic that you can come if you have pain. For the Saturday pain clinic, we do back pain, neck pain, joint ache and pain, shoulder pain, stomach pain, leg and feet pain, hand pain, and also Saturday clinic is dedicated to anyone that has pain. We also do health coaching. So if you're looking to have a health coach, you can contact us as well. We have weight loss coaching as well, diet and nutrition coaching. If you have issues with pain, anger, stress, we also can coach you on those things as well. So tonight, we've got the Juice Doctor with us this evening to answer your questions about flu. So if you do have any questions about flu, please put it on the chat and we will answer them as we go along this evening. If you would like to contact the Juice Doctor, his details are aaronlives@gmail.com. His Instagram handle is Vivo Nutrients or MI Healthcare. The website is mihealthcaregroup.com and vivonutrients.com. If you would like to book an appointment to speak to him or to book a scan, you could also call on 0207-175-0052. Yes, flu season. Do you have the flu? For some people, flu, they have stuffy nose, they have sore throat, they have coughing. For other people, they have ache in their body. Sometimes they feel exhausted and other times they have loss of appetite. So tonight we are beginning our talk by asking the Juice Doctor a few questions about flu and how flu affects us. Thank you, Juice Doctor. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a long time since I've been on the live chat, so it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be back. It's a pleasure to be interacting with the people. We have a lot of really exciting information to share this evening. Obviously, we know we're in the flu season and we really need to make sure that we are proactive as opposed to being reactive, to make sure that we are intentional with regards to maintaining our health. I've made up my mind that anybody who's around me or is close to me is not going to be a victim of this flu. And we're going to do all the things in our power to make sure that you're empowered with the information and the tools necessary to ensure that. So thank you so much for those that have joined. And I hope you really enjoy the information that we share tonight. I don't even see who's in the house. I can't even see who's in the house, but yeah, welcome to everyone that's joined. Thank you for all those that honored the invitation. It's a pleasure to see you and also to be here. Over to you.
Thank you so much once again, sir. The first question I wanted to ask you is, who can get the flu? Who are the people that can be affected by flu?
Well, actually, anyone with a heartbeat can get the flu. Even healthy people can get the flu. And they can also get serious complications from the flu. They can actually develop at any time and at any age. People that are 65 and older, they tend to have a lot more, they tend to be a lot more at risk, but they can also get some quite serious complications from flu. So basically anybody who has a heartbeat can get the flu. It's not a respect of persons, and it doesn't discern or distinguish between who it affects or who it affects.
Thank you very much. So what are the symptoms of cold? common cold?
Well, a common cold and the flu, they actually have quite similar symptoms. However, cold symptoms are a little bit less severe because cold symptoms, they also appear quite gradually because they're more bacterial as opposed to viral, which are what is behind the flu. But they both can come on quite quickly and unexpected. Most adults recover from a cold in around 7 to 10 days, but the symptoms can still persist way into 3 weeks, even up to a month sometimes. So it depends on what your level of immunity is that will determine the speed at which you can overcome the cold. But classic symptoms would be things like sneezing, muscle aches, having a blocked or runny nose, or a sore throat. You can even include things like headaches, a dry cough or lingering cough, a raised temperature, which is like your body trying to heat up itself so it can actually destroy the bacteria or the virus in situ. You could also experience pressure in your ears and in your face. You can actually even experience a loss of taste or smell, but it's not a typical symptom of cold and flu. But with the current respiratory illness that we're facing now, that is a classic symptom. Sometimes if you have a really bad bout of cold or flu, you can also have diarrhea or vomiting. And of course, you could also get breathlessness if your lungs are implicated in the condition.
Or that you think I should do? So what should I do if I have these symptoms that you've just talked about?
So let's put this on silent. Okay, well, like flu, if you have the symptoms, it's very important that you get plenty of water. It's very important that you get lots of rest and keep yourself very hydrated. A lot of people tend to drink less water in the winter, so that's another reason why it's easier to catch the flu, because you haven't got enough hydration in your system to ensure you can flush things through and out of the kidneys. You can buy cold remedies, from the supermarket, things to help you to, overcome things a lot quicker. We tend to more advocate for the more natural side of things, using food, using things like ginger, using garlic, using oregano, using essential oils. But, for those that haven't got access to a professional or a health professional or a practitioner, there are lots of things you can do. There are pharmacists you can speak to. If you haven't got a GP or access to your GP because the GPs are overwhelmed, pharmacists are just as effective as GPs. In fact, they're more effective because they have more time and they have access to resources right where they are. You haven't got the right prescription, they can actually just sell it to you right off the shelf. If you have heart or lung or kidney condition alongside your cold or flu, again, it's very important that you contact your GP or a health professional, or if your symptoms get suddenly worse. If your temperature stays high for a very long time and you start to feel hot, shivery, or maybe lightheaded, again, that's another reason for you to get medical attention. Or if you're finding it hard to breathe or develop chest pain, this is another reason for you to seek medical attention. So there are certain symptoms that are classic and conventional with the flu, and there's things that you can do about those. But if your symptoms are more severe than just the normal headaches or the things that we've mentioned, then it's important that you get the relevant attention and get it done sooner rather than later.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much again for answering that question about the cold symptoms. So if I get the flu symptoms, what should I do? What do I do if I have flu symptoms?
Firstly, if you do have flu symptoms, the first thing you want to do is try to limit your contact with other people, especially those who are vulnerable, people that already have weakened immune systems, parents, elderly parents, young children, people that are already at quite high risk of contracting any kind of viral or bacterial infection. Make sure, again, you get plenty of water. Try to keep yourself warm. You might also find that drinking lots of water, and oxyflush is also another good tool that we always advocate for people to use. I'll just let this person in. Oxyflush is another thing that we always advocate for people to use, because oxyflush really helps to cleanse your colon and to cleanse all the bacteria out of your gut, because oftentimes when your gut is overwhelmed with bacteria that's coming on the back of your food, that will place an additional burden on your immune system, which will then slow down its response and its ability to overcome the cold or the flu or the viral infection that is attacking your body. So try and use oxyflush at the earliest point you can, the earliest notice of any kind of symptoms. And also, if you have a heart attack, don't try and take any ibuprofen, because that will not make you better. That will actually make things worse.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much once again. So how does this flu spread? How do you think it spreads?
Well, the common flu is spread via droplets, generally released from the nose or from the mouth. They can be released through coughs or through sneezes. When an infected person sneezes or coughs, it doesn't cover their nose or their mouth, that could cause them to spread the flu, the droplets, in a much wider area. Droplets typically travel up to 6 feet from the nose or the mouth, and they can hang in the air before settling on any type of hard surfaces. So if the infected person sneezes or coughs into their hand, they should actually cough into a tissue and then discard that straight away. But those contaminated surfaces will then carry that virus, and it will infect anybody that comes into contact with that surface within a very short space of time. So we always recommend that when you go to public places, especially now, supermarkets, when you're handling, baskets that could have been handled by someone who has the flu, try and make sure you either use a tissue, use a hanky, or just wear gloves just to protect your hands from contracting the virus, because they can actually survive outside the body for up to 24 hours, which means your risk of catching the flu when you touch any contaminated surface is quite greatly increased. Also things like door handles, telephones, keyboards. If you type, you're at work and use the same keyboard as the person that's contracted the flu, you're also going to place yourself at risk. Things like remote controls. If you live in the same household or somebody's got the flu, if you touch a contaminated surface, then touch your nose or your mouth, then you could actually become infected. So it's really good to be wise and to be mindful of the many different vectors that the flu can use to transfer and be transmitted into your own body.
Well, thank you very much once again for answering that question. Do other respiratory viruses circulate during flu season as well?
There are several other different respiratory viruses that also spread during the flu season. They can also cause symptoms similar to those seen with the flu infection. You have a thing called the RSV, which is a respiratory syncytial virus, which is like one of the most common causes of severe respiratory illnesses, especially in young children, as well as it's the leading cause of death from respiratory illness in those over the age of 65 years. Another common flu virus that is circulating at the moment is the human metapneumovirus, which is another virus that actually affects the lungs and sometimes can lead to pneumonia. Another very common virus that we see quite often is the respiratory adenovirus, and the adenovirus is quite a large family of flu viruses, also linked to the coronavirus, which is another family of viruses, but these are viruses that are quite prevalent in the air at this particular time. So it's very important that you really keep yourself on guard and as well protected as you can be, to make sure that you don't capture or don't interact with any of these viruses that are moving around at this present moment.
Thank you so much once again for answering that question and telling us the difference between respiratory virus and the flu virus. So how do I avoid catching the flu?
Now that's a very good question. We always advocate for people to be proactive rather than reactive. And the best way that we recommend is to use a thing that we have called flu drops. Now, flu drops is very effective for preventing the flu. It's not something that we recommend. We can have if you catch the flu, but if you want to prevent yourself from getting the flu, take the flu drops. The flu drops, especially those that are over 50 or those that are pregnant or young children, take the flu drops. Just the way they promote having the flu jab, we are promoting taking the flu drops, because the flu drops are actually food. They're food-based products. They're just small drops that you take in a suspension. They're in a hemp seed and black seed oil suspension. They also have pumpkin seed oil in them, which helps to absorb them into your cells a lot quicker. But it contains things like garlic. It contains things like oregano. It contains things like ginger. These are all very powerful essential oils that are renowned for their ability to destroy bacterial infections and viral infections in situ. So as soon as the virus enters into your body, because you have the flu drops in your blood, as soon as the virus comes in contact with any of those properties, it will neutralize its ability to replicate and spread, thus rendering you a lot more protected against the manifestation of flu. So you could be in an environment where people have got the flu, but because you've got your flu drops, it will prevent the flu from replicating to a level that will cause any kind of distress to the immune system. So definitely get your flu drops instead or alongside your flu jab.
Thank you once again for answering the question. My next question is it possible to have flu and also COVID at the same time?
It's definitely possible to have both of them at the same time. Flu is, well, COVID-19 is actually quite a severe flu. So yes, you can definitely have the flu and then contract COVID-19, or vice versa, you can have COVID-19 and then contract the flu. They both have a severe impact on the immune system. So you definitely can have both of them at the same time, yes.
Thank you again, once again, for answering that question. Does the flu jab also protect from coronavirus?
The short answer is no. The flu jab doesn't offer protection against coronaviruses of any kind. It offers protection against flu if caused by a flu virus like influenza, but COVID-19 is a disease that is caused by the SARS-CoV-2, which is different from the normal flu viruses that are around. And they say it's quite a novel, that's why I call it the novel, because it's quite new. So it's not something that the regular jabs are able to contend with or attenuate against to any level that you'd feel any level of protection. So the short answer is no, flu jab won't protect you from COVID-19.
Thank you once again for answering that question and for clarifying the different types of flu jabs and the types of protection that we can have from coronavirus as well as flu. So does the coronavirus vaccination also protect us from the flu virus? So if I've taken the COVID vaccine, do I need to worry about the flu virus vaccines or flu virus?
No. Does the coronavirus vaccine protect from the flu virus? Is that what you're saying? Does the coronavirus vaccine?
Does the coronavirus vaccine protect me against flu virus?
No, it doesn't.
So if I've had the 3 jabs, for example, you know, I've had 1, 2, and 3, and then they ask me to come and get the top up or whatever they call it, the 4th one. So if I've had the 4, do I still need, am I protected from virus, the flu virus? That's what I'm asking.
No, you're not at all. If you have the COVID-19 vaccine, it's not going to offer you any protection against the flu because it's designed in a completely different way. It's an mRNA vaccine. So it's not going to have any impact on the RNA vaccines or the RNA viruses, which a lot of the flus are. So, and you have some DNA viruses, DNA flu viruses as well, but the COVID-19 vaccine is designed specifically to deal with the novel SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is a slightly different virus from the common flu viruses that most of the flu jabs are designed to protect you against. So don't confuse yourself by thinking if you've got, you know, jab number 1, jab number 2, or jab number 3, that you're anyway more immunized or inoculated against catching the flu. It doesn't offer any protection against the flu whatsoever.
Thank you again for clarifying that and for answering the questions very nicely. So what should I do if I develop any side effect from taking the flu jab? Because I know that I have taken the flu jab in the past and they say, oh, you know, when you take the flu jab, you become sick a bit and then you get well. So what happens if I have a side effect from taking the flu jab?
The most likely effects you have after the jab are pain. You may get redness or a slight swelling or tingling or some tenderness in the area where you actually receive the injection. After the jab, you may also have a headache or feel lethargic. These side effects, they generally will tend to disappear within about 2 or 3 days maximum. So the first thing I'd say is to keep yourself hydrated. And the second thing is to make sure you get plenty of rest, just to allow your immune system to gather itself and gather up enough white blood cells and neutrophils to attenuate or to contend and manage whatever level of the inactivated virus has been exposed to the body, so that your body can actually mount the relevant response and give you enough time to get your strength back. So don't really panic, just take your time, keep yourself hydrated and get plenty of rest. Try and get to bed a little bit earlier than you would had you not had the jab.
Thank you again for answering that question. So my next question is, what practical things can I do to prevent the flu?
Well, you always hear Chris Whitty and all the people during the COVID-19 vaccine time telling you, or the COVID-19 pandemic time, telling you to wash your hands. Yes, it's a very good advice, but just to back up why they're always saying to wash your hands, because when you touch any of those surfaces that may have been contaminated by any level of flu or any level of virus per se, if you touch your nose or you touch your face or you touch as you do, people touch their face several times without even realizing, you would then have transferred and transmitted that virus from the surface to your face, which is giving it close proximity to your nose, which is giving it close proximity to your mouth, which are orifices that can allow access for that virus to enter your body. So if you do want to prevent the flu, make sure you wash your hands for those reasons. Keep them clean as possible. Keep good personal hygiene about you as much as you can. Make sure that you try and keep shared surfaces such as door handles, telephones, pens, common things that you use on a regular basis that you may share with other people in your household. Maybe so things like crockery, cutlery, towels. Keep those things separated. The ones that you can keep clean, keep them regularly clean, keep them wiped down, keep them disinfected. Have your sprays on hand to make sure you keep those areas sanitized, to make sure you don't spread it to somebody else, and also you also don't contract it yourself, and it also keeps your children protected. So try and make sure you're mindful and on guard when you're out and about and moving around places that it could be a high level or a high propensity for people to have flu in those areas. If you do contract the flu, obviously you want to take time off work if you can, so you can make sure you avoid people, but there's just lots of little things that you can do. We'll put a lot more information on the website where you can access a whole list of things you can do to prevent yourself from getting the flu.
There's this new thing called gastric flu. What's that? What's a gastric flu? Is that the same as a regular flu, or is that to do with the stomach, or what's that?
Gastric flu is basically, a lot of people misconstrue gastric flu, and they see it as or a man flu. They might call it a man flu. Gastric flu is actually a form of inflammation or a gastroenteritis, which produces diarrhea, produces vomiting, produces nausea, and also produces a high temperature. Despite the common nickname, this condition is actually not caused by the flu virus. It's commonly caused by a norovirus, which is like the flu, and it's more prevalent during the winter. So it's something that is going to be very much around now, and something you very much need to be aware of now. So you can actually catch the norovirus by coming into contact with particles from the vomit or the feces of an infected person. So it's not going to make that much difference, if you contract it, but it's good to have the background knowledge that gastric flu is actually the norovirus, and it's like a form of gastroenteritis. It causes a lot of inflammation in your stomach. So try to avoid contracting that gastric flu. Again, washing your hands regularly, using soap and water, disinfect the surfaces that could be contaminated, and keep your bedding and your toilets clean to make sure that you limit the risk of you contracting or anybody else around you contracting it. And if you do become sick, try and take some time off work, as we always recommend. Keep away from social events, keep away from people, practice good hygiene, be cautious about the close contact you have with other people, and just try and keep yourself as isolated as possible until you manage to get your particular strain under control. So the gastric flu is actually the norovirus, which is something that's quite prevalent now, so something that you definitely need to be mindful and aware of during this season.
Thank you once again for answering that question. I didn't actually know about gastric flu until today, but thank you so much for letting us know that. And what are some of the common flu jab side effects?
Common flu jab side effects would be things like soreness, swelling from the area and the location where you've received the actual shot. You may also experience some headaches. You may experience some nausea, some fatigue, some muscle ache, and also fever. Flu jab side effects are perfectly normal. They're something that you should, almost expect. However, there are a few other flu jab side effects that are not as common. These are quite rare, and they may indicate what we call an allergic reaction, as opposed to just a detox reaction. You get things like wheezing or difficulty breathing. This is a little bit more serious than your common headaches and muscle aches. You may get some swelling around your eyes or your lips. You may experience hives or becoming really pale all of a sudden. You may even have a faster heartbeat. You may notice an increase in the beats or the pace or the speed of your heart. And things like dizziness or weakness. These are actually allergic reactions, in which case you should definitely alert your practitioner or the medical establishment that issued the jab to let them be aware that you've experienced some symptoms at the soonest possible juncture, so they can take the relevant action and also put it on your file so that they don't make the mistake of giving you such a jab again in the future, because these things can sometimes even end in death.
Thank you once again for answering that question. This follows on to my next question. Is the flu jab necessary to take every year? I think the last time I took flu jab was like 10 years ago, but I know people take it every year. You know, some people start taking it from September or just at the beginning of October, just to get their regular shots. So do I need to take it every year?
You're by no means forced to take the flu shot. However, you know, health professionals highly recommend it. What I tend to advise is that because the flu strains, they're always mutating. The flu strain that was available last year may not necessarily be available this year, or the flu strain that was available last year may have mutated again this year. So the vaccine or the jab, the flu shot that they developed for the strain that they inoculated you against last year may not have any effect on the strains that are out this year, because you've had so many different viruses that have, you know, mutated in the air, and they've formed new variations. You've seen how COVID was mutating into so many different variants. You had the Omicron. You've had quite a few different variants of the coronavirus, although yes, they did get weaker. But if you had a shot that was developed for, say, the adenovirus, when you've had Omicron, which is a new variant of a new novel coronavirus, it's not going to have the same effect. So I would use wisdom and make sure you get the right information so you can be fully informed that what you're actually taking is going to actually have the desired effect on immunizing you against the threat in its current state.
Thank you again, once again. My next question is, how long does the flu last?
A flu typically lasts 3 to 7 days, depending on the level of immunity, depending on the level of your immune system function. Serious complications of the flu, such as pneumonia, can take longer to recover from. Some symptoms, such as a cough, can persist for more than 2 weeks. So it all depends on your level of immune system and how topped up it is and how optimal it is functioning at the time of contraction. You could have a quick recovery from the flu. You can still infect others, you know, 5 to 7 days after becoming sick. So you can rest assured that if you have been able to get over it within the 7 days, that you still want to be mindful that you're still could be quite effective to other people and those around you for at least up to another 10 days once you've overcome some of the worst symptoms. So even if you don't feel symptoms, just still be mindful and be careful that the virus can still be active and other people can still be affected. So generally we say 7 to 10 days, but allow yourself at least 14 days before you can give yourself the all clear.
Cool. Thank you again for answering that question. My next question is that, are there any home remedies for the flu? So what should I take, or what products do you offer that I can take to prevent myself from having the flu? And if I do have a flu, what products can I take to help me get out of it without staying at home for 14 days? Okay,
well, we've seen lots and lots of cases of people that have had the flu, and even cases as serious as pneumonia. And we recommended them to use the things like the Ultra Detox, the Oxyflush, the flu drops, of course, but at a much higher dose, Respirate drops, and Zeoflush. And they took that along with the liquid oxygen, and the doctors had recommended that she would not be able to recover fully from pneumonia for at least 6 months. But having recommended those products to her as what we call our flu kit combo, she was able to overcome the pneumonia completely within 3 weeks. And she was shocked herself, because when she first came to us, she could barely breathe. She was on the phone. You could really hear her literally gasping for air. And, 3 short weeks later, she was up and about. She was, out and about shopping, going about her life and just enjoying, the joys of I think it was early July, she had that pneumonia, enjoying the last periods of the last few weeks of the summer. So something that could take 6 months was actually able to be overcome within 3 short weeks. And let's say 6 weeks to be conservative, for her to have complete all clear and for her to be clinically certified as being clear. But just to kind of give a little bit more of an insight, if you use these products preventatively, they are more effective than when you use them after you've already been infected. Preventively or prophylactically, if you use the ultra detox, it really helps to, to stimulate your liver, your kidney, your digestive system to be more effective, to expel things like parasites. If you have bloating, it really helps to bring that down, because when you have bloating, that's going to put another strain on your immune system. If you use things like oxyflush again is something that we recommend highly if you suffer with any kind of stomach problems or any kind of indigestion problems, any kind of cramping in the stomach. The reason why we use oxyflush to deal with this, because it clears out all the waste, it clears out all the gunk, it clears out all the associated pathogens and toxins that will then lead on to inflammation. And when you have a lot of inflammation in your body, that's gonna really trigger a massive immune response. And while your immune system is busy dealing with inflammation, it's then going to take away the immune system's ability to deal with colds or flu or rogue pathogens that may have entered the body through your nose or through your mouth, through you touching any one of those contaminated surfaces. So oxyflush is always something that we recommend to really help people to overcome colds and flu, well, to prevent themselves from getting a cold or flu. And then also the same with the flu drops. Flu drops is our flu jab. You take it every day, you put the garlic in there, you get the oregano in there, you get the ginger, you get the really powerful essential oils, and it really helps to just keep your immune system on tip-top guard, in tip-top shape, making sure that any levels of bacteria or viruses that start to develop in your blood, undetected, because sometimes they get in through other orifices. If they get in, those guys will get to work on breaking them down and neutralizing them before they can manifest as any kind of, serious flu infection or serious bacterial infection that may end up as a cold. And then lastly, we have the respirate. If you take it beforehand, just to keep you to breathe deeply, more clearly, to make sure you've got a good flow of oxygen coming to your lungs, because it helps to clear mucus away from the lungs. It helps to clear your throat, it helps to clear your nose and clear your sinuses. Because again, it's essential oils, they use a lot of aromatherapy. It has a lot of aromatherapeutic benefits. You put a few drops in your hand, you rub it together, you cup your hand around your face, you breathe it in deeply, inhale the aromas, it goes straight into the brain, it goes down into the lungs, it goes to the limbic system, so you feel a great sense of euphoria from having that great aroma coming straight into the brain. But having this as an oil that you use as a preventive, it prevents the buildup of mucus, which again will put a burden on your immune system. If there was a time when bacteria was able to get in or viruses were able to get in, your immune system will be busy trying to break down the mucus, which could also lead to you having congestion in your chest, which makes it harder for you to breathe, which is going to restrict the level or the flow of oxygen into your lungs that would dispel a lot of those pathogens. So Respirate is a great prophylactic product to take to prevent you from getting the flu. Flu drops is another great prophylactic to take because of the ingredients and the compounds, and they've been clinically proven. There's so many studies done on those particular compounds. Oxyflush, because it boosts and cleanses your gut and cleanses your colon and helps to relieve the burden that may be placed on the immune system, because 70% of your immune system is situated in your gut. So the more you can do to cleanse the gut and keep the gut clean is the better chance you'd have of freeing up your immune system to jump into action or to spring into action at the first sign of any kind of rogue pathogens building up in the system. So those are the products that we'd recommend to use. But then we also recommend things like having, honey and lemon is another natural remedy you can use, because honey is full of antibacterial properties. It also has antiviral properties. When you add it to the lemon is very rich in vitamin C. When you have the two of them as what we call the lemon detox, we generally recommend you have a liter of water, put say 4 lemons, 2 limes, some mint leaves, some cucumber slices, a little bit of honey, and just drink that throughout the day. Again, taking it prophylactically, don't wait until you get sick. Take it daily, because when you have these things in your system, you're boosting your immune system, you're boosting your antibacterial properties in your blood, and you're just really strengthening your body and just immunizing yourself against what may be out there, because you don't know what you're going to face. You don't know who's just walked past and what they've coughed into the air before you've come along, and you'll be breathing in that same virus or pathogen that they've coughed out. So the more things you have supporting your immune system is the better prepared you will be for the unexpected eventualities. We also recommend things like salt water or the salt water nose rinse, rinsing or gargling with salt to clear congestion. It clears the sore throat. Also very good for people that have asthma, people that have hay fever. any kind of respiratory condition, the salt flush is very, 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 very effective, highly effective. It's not always very comfortable, but it's very effective, especially if your hay fever or your asthma is really bad or really troubling you. And then lastly, we'd say that you can, keep your head elevated at night and make sure you drink plenty of fluids to make sure you keep yourself very well hydrated. So those are some key simple remedies that you can use in your house, along with some products that you can purchase to make sure you have them as part of your arsenal to make sure you keep yourself protected, but most definitely proactive in this flu season that's going to get a lot worse as the weeks progress.
Thank you so much for answering all of our questions tonight. So if anyone wants to get the products, where can they get the products?
Yeah, all the products you mentioned, all the food supplements, they're all available on our website, Vivo Nutrients. That's PIVO nutrients.com. Or you can go to My Healthcare, that's mihealthcaregroup.com, MI and then healthcaregroup.com, and you just click on the product, any one of the products that you see at the bottom of the page. That will take you to the shop, and you can purchase all of those products there and quite a few others. We also have our Instagram page, which I believe is it Vivo Nutrients?
Mm-hmm.
Vivo Nutrients as well, at Vivo Nutrients, and YouTube. We have a YouTube page of the same name. Maybe that's that you typed in the chat. Vivo Nutrients on YouTube, where you see a lot of the testimonials of people that have gone through some of the programs, the lifestyle change programs, the detox programs, the hydration or the hydrotherapy programs, where we just use water to cleanse the body and really flush out the system and eliminate a lot of the toxins that have built up in the body just using water. So there are a lot of testimonials on YouTube of the same name, Vivo Nutrients. So yeah, please feel free to interact with us. If you have any questions about what products to use, there are a lot of information available on the site, but if you still need to get a little bit more clarity or clarification, feel free to reach out to us, reach out to Princess Glory. We're always on hand to provide any additional information you may need so you can make the right decision that's right for you.
Thank you so much, just Doctor, for joining us this evening. Just before we go, I'm just going to quickly share my screen so I can give a couple more tips about essential oils that can be used and foods that people can have for the flu season. Okay, so some of the things that the Juice Doctor told us this evening is that we should wash our hands frequently, disinfect contaminated areas, avoid touching your face, always cover your mouth and nose when you sneeze or sneeze into tissue, he said. Isolate yourself as well. Make sure you're not around people for a couple of days so that you can get well. Some of the foods that we can have whilst we have the flu. I know people see red meat here and think, oh my God, red meat, am I allowed to eat meat? You are not allowed to eat so much meat, but of course you can have a little bit of meat to give yourself some energy. Have a lot of citrus fruits. You can have lots of beans, garlic, leafy greens. You can have honey, you can have lots of ginger, which the doctor mentioned already. You can have a lot of turmeric, turmeric mixture. You can have walnuts, you can have carrots, you can have lots of soups. I know that when people have the flu, they always go for the chicken soup. So again, you can have chicken soup. Also foods that you can have or fruits that you can use to detox yourself. If you have the flu, you can have Brussels sprouts, you can have spinach. You can actually take a spoon of olive oil. That would be very good as well. That is useful. You can have lots of beetroot, beetroot juice, turmeric. You can blend it in your juice. You can have celery juice as well. Those are some of the things that you can use or you can take if you had the flu. Some other things that you can do if you had the flu, like sore throat or cough, when you have the flu, you can put this in your diffuser, 2 drops of lemon oil, 2 drops of peppermint oil, 2 drops of frankincense oil, and 2 drops of clove oil. You can put that in your diffuser and that will really clear out your throat and also help with the cough. If you would like to get any of these oils, we do have them on sale on our website. If it's not on there, let us know and we will tell you how you can purchase them. Also for your diffuser as well, if you had sore throat or sinus headache, you can have lavender oil, peppermint oil, rosemary oil, and marjoram oil as well in your diffuser. So these are some of the oils or some of the mixtures that you can have to help with your flu or flu symptoms. Some of the benefits of using essential oils are it relieves the headache, the cold, the muscle soreness, and also your body pain. It also helps you to manage your stress and helps you to relax. You can also apply it on your skin, on your face. You could also use it in your diffuser. Those are small things that you can use the essential oils for. If you would like to contact me, my email address is on the screen, gloryedward21@gmail.com. My Instagram page is Glory Edward Nutrition, Glory Edward Organic, as well as Chef Imani's Kitchen. For Chef Imani's Kitchen, there's lots of foods that you can try during this winter, lots of soups that you can try. If you don't like soups, there's a lot of things that you can also try that will help as well. If you do need to contact me, my number is 0798-455-1292. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Before you go, just two things I want to quickly mention, as it just came to mind as we were mentioning the foods. One of the things I want to really, drive home during the season in terms of preventing the flu, if you have a diet that is rich in sugary foods, that is going to leave you very, very open and vulnerable to contracting the flu. If you have a diet that is very rich in dairy products, milk, yogurt, any of those kind of dairy derivatives, you're going to leave yourself very open and vulnerable to contracting the flu. The reason why I say sugar, even the sugary drinks, the fruit juices, when you have a lot of sugar, sugar feeds bacteria like no other food. If you have processed sugar, if you have any kind of unnatural sugar, these bacteria, they really draw closer to those sugars. They're really attracted to those type of sugars, and it helps them to multiply and to strengthen their colony in your gut. These will present a massive, massive problem for your immune system, which your immune system will be diverted to deal with before it deals with anything else. So if you have a high appetite for sugar, you are leaving yourself very open and vulnerable to catching a cold or catching a flu. Try and reduce your sugar intake. Try and incorporate more water. Even if you're going to drink herbal teas, have herbal teas, but don't drink sugary drinks, especially during the winter. The same thing goes for the dairy products. If you have a lot of milk, you have a lot of cheese, try and reduce your consumption of these foods. If you do catch the cold, if in the unfortunate event that it happens, that you do get infected, don't use sugary drinks to give you energy. Don't use cheese to try and give you a quick pepper. These things will slow down your recovery, and it will leave you more open to worse infections that will then prolong the amount of time you may be in that state. So try to keep your sugary foods to a minimum. Sweet drinks, fruit juices, fruity, sweet beverages, processed foods. Same with your dairy. Try and keep those to a minimum, both before you get sick and after, if you do get sick, to ensure you get a shorter recovery time. Thank you so much. That's what I wanted to add before we leave.
Thank you very much, Juice Doctor, for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure. For all the people that joined us this evening, we want to say thank you to you guys. You made it interesting. Please, if you do have any questions outside the stuff that we've spoken about today, feel free to text us on the Telegram group. It's called Healing Rooms, I think. Healing Rooms?
Healing Rooms.
Yeah, so you can put your questions through that, or you can personally text us if you've got our details. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week, Thursday. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night, Jackie.
See you in the morning.
See you in the morning. Thank you, Clara, for joining us.
you.
Good night.
Good to see you.
Bye,
Bye.
Bishop. Good night.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
informative
Norma.
as usual.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Clara.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Grace. God bless you.
It's a good preparation for the winter. Thank you.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. See you soon.
God bless you. Have a lovely evening.
God bless. Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye, Gloria.
Oh, bye. God bless you.
Bless you too.